Let us now have a closer look at Green Star Rating tool and its redevelopment. So the current version of the rating is called Design and Build 1.2, and it applies for projects that were registered after July 2017. Previous to that, there were rating schemes called 1.1 and 1.0, and if we speak about the LCA, then it appears as part of the category materials and some innovation credits. So as you know, currently Green Star rating is going through redevelopment, and the reasons for it are to meet Paris Agreement obligations and just to address social sustainability a bit more, to drive change in supply chain, redefine benchmarks, best practice, and also bring back nature to built environment. So new proposed rating will be released in next year, and I think end of May or June this year, GBCA asked the industry to submit comments on the proposed changes presented in the Future Focus consultation paper. And as you can see, there are some categories. There are 8 instead of 9. They were renamed and reorganized. There are some completely new categories like healthy, places, and people. So proposed changes to the new tool set quite high and ambitious requirements, especially for 5- and 6-star projects. As you can see in the new rating, it's called New Buildings, 5- and 6-star projects appear slightly more to the right, which also means that they will probably have higher requirements. As you see, 5-star projects will be called net zero ready, and 6-star projects are called net zero. Maybe there will be even a completely new category, carbon positive. It's still under consideration. And in short, 5-star projects or net zero ready projects will need to reduce their embodied carbon by 10%. And also significantly reduce their operational energy. Whereas 6-star projects will need to reduce embodied carbon by 20% and be powered by renewables by 100%. So it's a pretty tough requirement. And they're called net zero and it's already carbon. And it's interesting to understand also what's really zero carbon and what it means. How can it be measured? So you probably heard more and more about these new projects, carbon zero or even carbon positive. But what does it really mean to become carbon zero or even carbon positive? So there's this European standard, the EN 15978, that sets calculation method and structure to understand where impacts occur and how they influence the whole of building. And this project is an example of a 3-story building where emissions, in this case carbon or global warming potential, occur. And I'll just quickly jump into the software to demonstrate how this can be calculated. So for those who haven't seen the software yet, so this is online based, and we've got here a sample project, 3-story residential house. So the LCA model will consist of bigger structural elements, components, or we call them templates. These are like floors, ceilings, doors, walls, windows, balcony, appliances, HVAC system, refrigerants, and so on. So all these, even solar PV system. And as you can see, we only focus here on global warming potential. We choose a lens on how to display impacts. There are also other categories. And if we look at this project, so over 50 or 60 years of its life, from the construction phase till end of life, it will emit about 18,000 of tons of CO2 equivalent or carbon. And as you can see, most of it is happening through operational energy and water, and some of these emissions are caused by products used, materials. You can also see a negative number here, which is for energy export due to PV system. So we look at the whole building and at all impacts caused by the whole structure or the whole all components, and this standard EN 15978 structures it really well. So modules A1 to A3, basically origin of material, where they come from. A4 is how they get to the construction site, so transport way. A5 is construction method, people and equipment, and then basically the use phase. So there will be some maintenance, refurbishment required. Some materials will need to be replaced earlier, some of them later. And then during this operational phase, we also look at energy and water, and also end of life impacts, so demolition, deconstruction. Module D is all about how we can improve design and get some credits back, or how to reduce impacts by recycling or energy exports. And as you can see, there's a negative number that reduces the total of carbon. So after we've done all that, we need to understand, okay, where this embodied carbon is calculated, how it can be measured, and how much it will cost to a project to become carbon zero. So to do that, we just need to go on a high level of the project and switch off modules that are responsible for operational impacts like B6, B7, and energy, operational energy. Then just click OK, and the software calculated 6,000 of tons of carbon. That's our embodied carbon, and that's this way we can also understand how much carbon we will need to offset. So basically we just deduct this operational carbon from the total and get the embodied carbon. And if we assume that the cost of certificate is, for example, $5 per ton, then this building will become carbon zero if they would purchase certificates around $30,000 would be required. So that's the way. And if projects want to become carbon positive, then basically they just need to buy more certificates. Then they're required to be carbon zero. I guess it's pretty streamlined. And back to the rating. So Green Star is considering also some other interesting ideas about rewarding exceptional achievements of future projects. So as you can see, there's idea of badges and also idea of completely new star rating. This can be, for example, carbon positive rating. We kind of like the idea of badges as well, and we also suggested to include some other badges like life cycle costing champion for projects that achieve the best environmental performance to the lowest cost, and super positive champion badge, which is for those projects that use the idea of super credit that I will explain later. So to integrate energy, water, and material into same life cycle assessment analysis and getting a better design outcome. So now let's have a look at a new category positive of the new rating. It is a positive change to see that the proposed integration of the categories energy, water, and materials into one new category is about to happen. And as a company that specializes in life cycle assessment, we strongly support this change, as long as it means also using life cycle assessment across this category. Currently, LCA is part of materials and some innovation credits only. However, the previous separation of energy, water, and materials is no longer necessary, but is actually critical. And I will show examples why. But just to give you a sense of it, how would you prioritize different systems? Is a PV system better than low carbon materials or water saving tap? So, you know, these different options would just need to be modeled to provide a transparent picture of the environmental performance of the project. So ideally, this should happen before drawings are finished and contracts are signed.